just want to get the panel to just introduce themselves briefly, just outlining what to do for the company and the company itself. So, Philip, we'll start with you.
Sure. So, Philip Missler, Managing Director of InteractiveMedia. Since 4 or 5 months, I had the luxury to step into the ad trading, ad sales business pretty new. So I'm in internet business since 15 years, mid of the 90s. However, new to the advertising business, so I can see some things with an external view and fresh eyes.
My name's Nerissa MacDonald. I'm the Director of Trading for MediaMind. My role is primarily responsible for the growth and development of our DSP platform across Europe.
My name is Erhard Neumann. I'm the CEO of ADTECH. I'm running ADTECH globally, worldwide. ADTECH is a typically ad server which has been on the market since 14 years. And yeah, we have to adjust our business model many, many times. So, of course, we are going into the same world as we are talking today.
Martin, I work for the Telegraaf Media Group in the Netherlands, and I'm responsible for all automated trading for our company as a publisher.
My name is Jay Stevens. I'm the GM for International for the Rubicon Project, which is a leading supply-side platform.
So we'll just jump straight into it. Gentlemen, a lot of the innovation is being driven by the buy side, particularly around technology and data. Is the sell side keeping up with innovation? Are publishers able to keep track of what's happening on the buy side? And we'll start with like the platform players, and then we'll just jump to the publishers, and then Nerissa can give us the buy side view. Then, Jay, you would say that obviously that Rubicon's keeping pace, but there seems to be a lot of investment being on the buy side. I mean, how can publishers keep up to date with that?
Yeah, I mean, I actually would argue that in many ways the sell side is more advanced than the buy side. If you look at most of the development that is occurring around the way in which demand-side platforms are moving towards, much of that has historically been around performance and essentially ad network in a box that they then empower the agency trading desk or even potentially advertisers themselves. Obviously, for a supply-side platform, our mission is 100% aligned with that of the publisher, so we want to do nothing but encourage rates to go up, and are of course looking at ways in which we can improve automation for publishers, not just to be able to open up inventory to performance buyers, but also to be able to enable publishers to be able to take advantage of private marketplaces and see much higher CPMs through the shift of dollars from performance to brand.
Erhard, what's your view?
For us, it's quite obvious that a totally technology-driven company needs to see what our publishers, and publishers are mainly our customers, needs to have in order to participate on those new markets that are coming along. The experience what we have is that a lot of our clients, they have a certain fear to invest into it and to go into it, to make some tests. It's still a special group that are going to be the early ones that go into it, especially here in Europe and in Germany. And we want to build a technology for them that makes it easy to use and give them all of their freedom that a publisher is used to have. So they can build their own private SSPs if they want. They can also participate in others. So we would just like to open the world for them and make it easy for them to participate.
I mean, like it or not, we are moving more towards data-driven display space. Does there need to be a rethink from the way that sales houses sell their inventory? I mean, we had a very feisty panel here earlier on between some publishers and some buyers. Do you think that fundamentally, you know, as a sales house, do you need to change the way you sell your inventory?
I mean, it's not that we just start to think about data-driven advertising business. This is going on for the last couple of years already. But in general, yes, of course. I mean, the market is clearly putting pressure to solve intransparencies, inefficiencies in the market, in the value chain. And this is correct. So And data is a lot about that, right? Taking out inefficiencies, intransparencies from the market and trying to create real value instead of discussing how to structure the value chain between the traditional players. So this is a huge topic for us, and currently we're investing a lot of time and money as well in transforming our organization and our business to leverage the opportunities which are in there.
Nerissa, from the buy-side perspective, you think that the publishers can be open up new revenue models by engaging with the automated buying from the buy side?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that we're seeing more and more across Europe now the advent of more private exchanges. We're seeing more publisher trading desks coming into fruition. I mean, just this week in France, another large publisher trading desk was announced, Audience Square. 40 premium publishers come together and have provided themselves 20 million uniques to sell. So I think there is still a huge opportunity for those large premium publishers to become more involved. It is a new revenue line, whereas before you may have not been exposed to some of the brand dollars or DR dollars that are out there. So yeah, I think that publishers should not be so fearful of becoming more involved. They should embrace the new technology that's out there.
Martin, let's look at you. Martin, if you don't know, he works with the Telegraaf, and the Telegraaf have been kicking off with their own model in Holland, doing very successful around a data-driven display space. Mm-hmm. If you were to if you owned a German sales house, how would you sort of approach this marketplace? What would you be doing?
I probably will first try to find a job at a publisher instead of working for a sales house. So let's assume I get a job at a publisher.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Okay, let's go for the publisher side. Don't worry.
You just offer me a job and I already, okay, no, I'm a publisher guy. Well, first of all, you were saying, is it possible for the publishers to keep up with technology? From our point of view, we can see that technology can't keep up with our demands. Because every technology that are out there right now is built globally. And we're in the Dutch market, so I don't need to have a technology that's working great in the United States or in Germany or in France. I need to have technology that works great on my own inventory and in my own country. Great example is geo-targeting. It's terrible in the Netherlands. I think it has an accuracy of 65% with a 50-mile radius. That basically says, I'm sure that you're in the Netherlands for 65%. So, from a technological point of view, there's a lot of innovation going on. So assume I'm working for a publisher in Germany. What will I do? First of all, the whole automated space is not about remnant inventory. It's not about unsold inventory. It's not about performance. And that's something you have to get out of everybody's mind. Automated trading is about efficiency. How can I make it easier for an advertiser to send him his money? That's the only question I'm asking myself every day. And when you take that approach, it's a whole different model. Am I going to visit an advertiser 5 times a week for a proposal, an order, asking for creatives, sending him an invoice, calling him because he didn't pay the invoice, etc., etc. Or am I going to visit an advertiser, ask him what he actually needs, and he will probably say, well, I want to sell cell phones, so maybe you can help me selling cell phones. And I want to pay this amount of money for this kind of goals I have. Then I have one meeting with the advertiser. I just have to do a lot of technical sales to make sure that I facilitate him right away. And I can go on moving to my other advertiser. That means that from a sales house perspective, you probably can do more revenue with less people, or
so it's effectively an efficiency play, you think?
Absolutely, nothing more.
Yeah, and do you think that piece has been lost by publisher sales houses in this market? Is that something that's been lost in all the noise in terms of performance versus branding, etc.? We
lost that scope is because over the last 10 years, everybody who was in premium sales, so let's say just the display where you just pay too much, that's premium. So all the innovation had to take place at the bottom line. Yeah. Okay. At this moment, I can sell inventory for performance for 10 cents. How can I make it make it 20 cents? How can I make it 40 cents? So there was a lot of innovation going on in the display market, but it was all on performance-based. Why? Because there was a much bigger urge to improve.
Okay. So, look, let's talk about the nitty-gritties. How does automated buying help publishers make more money? How does the publisher make more money? Because at the end of the day, that's the question that the publishers here are going to ask. I mean, Philip, what do you think?
I mean, it's really in the first step, it's about efficiency, right? I had the luxury of stepping in from the outside world in a way, and it was really bizarre to see how many papers I have to sign each and every day. I mean, it's bizarre. We are talking about metrics, measurability, and so on for 15 years or so. It's done by paper, and it's managed in a way that is highly, highly inefficient. So we can get a lot of efficiency out of that. The way we do yield management, the way how we work with the networks, with sales partners out there, it's driven by gut feeling, right? I think this is more or less the standard in the market. It's not driven by data, it's not driven by analytics, it's not optimized. There's a tremendous uplift potential in that for nearly all publishers out there. We're highly optimized in monetization on the premium assets, that's true, but even on those assets like a t-online.de, in our SSP program, in our tests we did so far, we see a tremendous uplift potential. So this is really the first stage. I'm not talking about, are we going to do RTB on homepage events or so? I think this is nonsense for now, and no need to talk about. So first step is really.
Sorry.
So why big?
Why? I mean, I'm talking to an advertiser in the Netherlands who says, I'm paying a homepage takeover right now, and I want to serve 10 million homepage takeovers, but for some reason you always have to show them Monday morning 9 a.m. So everybody's going to the Telegraaf, starts his computer, goes to the Telegraaf, press F5, so they get rid of the homepage takeover, and that's because it's not automated. So what the advertiser actually wants, he wants to say, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people on stage here. I want to show you the homepage takeover, but at the moment it's most valuable for me as an advertiser. And for me as a publisher, I don't care, because he's still paying good money. It's less annoying for everybody here on stage, so less annoying for the 10 million homepage takeovers we're doing. And that's exactly my point. RTB is not about performance, it's about the whole package. It's about efficiency for display, video.
Managing yield across premium and
But efficiency means something very different to the buy side. I mean, you talk from the agency trading desk perspective, and efficiency to them does mean lower CPMs. But at the same time, they are prepared to pay a higher CPM rate if it means that impression they're going to buy is going to be valuable to them.
But you're talking about the money that's already flown down to the trading desk, right? Look, the reality of it is you got a 24-year-old planner buyer who sits down, goes to lunch, has 2 martinis with his mates, or goes to the pub and has a few pints, and then puts them on the plan because they're his friend. And the reality of it is he's putting 2 or 3 portals on the plan, 4 or 5 endemic sites on the plan, and the rest he's just chucking over the fence to the trading desk to execute performance-based buys, or it's going to the ad networks to get the reach and to bring down the blended eCPM to something that the advertiser is going to buy off on. The reality of it is that automated trading should do a number of wonders, not only for the buy side, but for the publisher side. Not only does it allow them to be able to mitigate some of the costs of operations and some of the cost of sales, but it also allows them to be able to take budget from advertisers they've never ever been able to see before.
You mean the retargeters, the affiliates, etc. Some budget that
It's
they normally wouldn't be.
No, like a whole package.
Anybody, any advertiser, because they're looking for specific users, right? And it might not be, if I'm the travel section of the Guardian, of course I'm going to want, and my sales team is going to be calling on, endemic travel advertisers.
Yeah.
But you know what? There are people who are category adjacent, whether they be, travel insurance. That would be relevant, but you might not be taking any money from them right now because they don't spend enough with their budgets aren't big enough to qualify for a direct buy.
And it's not a price issue for advertisers.
Yeah.
Because right now they're buying 10 million impressions, and basically publishers or ad servers are giving them 10 million impressions, and 7.5 million of those impressions are useless because they're not targeted. So with RTB, he's still buying 2 million impressions, maybe a little bit less, but he's willing to pay more because he can actually pick those impressions. So it's never. It's. I mean, I had this conversation within the Telegraaf where we said, "Oh my God, there's a big telco in the Netherlands, and they want to have some kind of combination deal, blah blah. How can we lower our rates?" That's a sales approach at the moment. I mean, when I was talking, hold on. When I was talking to my, when I was talking to my to that advertiser, he actually said, "I want to pay more."
Yeah, but you are talking about a world which is real pink. You know, it's the real world. What we see every day is we are not talking about premium all the time. It's the guaranteed. So advertisers buying on a guaranteed base. They want to have delivered X million ad impression over a time period, the special targeted segment. But on the other side, of course, you have the possibility to increase a little bit on your revenue by taking the same segment of into the RTB world. The problem is that the technology currently doesn't take in consideration, can I forget about the guaranteed volume just for a moment, for a second, and take something else in, which gives me a little bit more yield, and then have still enough space to deliver what I promised. And I think bringing these two worlds together, saying, okay, I have real-time bidding looking into my own campaigns and also looking what I get from the outside world. I think that's the most interesting thing that comes into it. So having my own premium, my own guaranteed, fighting against the RTB world that I can come in from the outside. Yeah, I know that it's possible.
I mean, and it's something we actually already are doing at the Telegraaf. I mean, if you want to have some guarantee campaign, it's an auction model. If you pay enough, there's your guarantee. Yeah. So if you didn't get your guarantee, it just means that another advertiser is giving a higher value to our property. I say it's a win-win situation.
So from a German perspective, I mean, it's great. Holland's a great country. It's a very progressive country, by the way. Very progressive, and it is ahead of the RTB curve. And but Germany has its own way of doing things. So I mean, from that perspective.
So the Netherlands are always the avant-garde, also in data protection. Let's see. But no, I mean, in general, I agree. It's not about remnant versus premium or performance versus premium. It's about an overall optimization of all models for the publisher. But there is still a huge portion of our business which is, I'm not talking about formats. I'm not talking about the homepage event as a format. I'm talking about as a complex marketing strategy or a campaign which is embedded in a complex marketing strategy which requires consultancy on both the advertiser side and the publisher side. And premium is really about doing the consultancy, doing the service around very complex strategies. And this is there to stay. And this does not mean that we won't optimize the whole inventory. But these are two approaches which need to work together. And this is our challenge, to make this happen, to prepare our organization to deliver this service.
Jay, I see you chuckling there. Are you going to disagree with that, yeah?
No, I definitely think there's a consultative nature that salespeople need to have, salespeople at the publisher need to have with their agencies and their clients and the advertisers themselves. But I feel, having sold media for many, many years, having run a sales team, having run an operational team and an accounting team that has to bill and collect on it, is the reality is that most salespeople are taking orders. And very few are actually doing the very deep, high-end consultative sales that it takes. And the reality of it is, the reason why the Netherlands has been able to progress as quickly as it has is because the average campaign size for an advertiser necessitates that they gravitate towards operational efficiencies, and that the overall mass of an average order value is so small in comparison to the to Germany or to the UK or to the US, that it necessitates moving in an operation to a world where it's much more automated and much more efficient.
And there's a likelihood that a lot of that budget you're talking about, the consultant budget, would move into the automated piece as well, because a lot of the trading desks could say, we're going to put this brand budget in there. So, I mean, you're going to have to move with that, though.
We have to keep the layers separate. So a lot will move to the automated channel because of efficiency, right?
Okay.
simply because it's more efficient for both sides to use this to do it. This does not mean that the business model totally changes. This does not mean that the nature of sales and consultancy around that totally changes. So we have often talked about RTB as a totally new business model. I don't see that.
It's a trading mechanic, right?
It's a trading mechanic, right?
What we're talking about is the movement from a trafficker at the agency generating tags within Atlas or DFA, sending them in an email. That email goes to the account manager. The account manager takes that to the trafficker. The trafficker then runs the campaign and manually drops it into ADTECH or whatever publisher ad server there is. I mean, the fact that all that whole process usually takes several days. That's late creative. That's 10% loss right there out of the gate for the publisher.
10 different reports.
And 10 different reports and discrepancies sources. And then you got to bill and collect on it. Right? Just that piece alone is a staggering.
Okay, let's shoot ahead. Well, let's say that between Google in terms of search and Facebook as it's growing display business are taking more and more budget. I want to talk about the models in that eventuality and obviously the money moving to the automated channel. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about this Le Collectif model. So, as Nerissa pointed out, there are a bunch of French publishers who've come together to build a publisher exchange in France. Philip, could that happen in Germany? Other publishers who'd work together to build out a common exchange and basically have control over their own data, their own inventory. Is that possible? And is it likely to happen?
I would say yes. I mean,
yes, excellent. Who's in exchange?
Aren't sales houses that today?
Yeah.
I mean, one of the biggest problems in our industry is the total fragmentation of the publisher side, right? A lot of, the biggest players have, let's say, 15% of the market. Yeah. This does not generate enough cash to invest in value-adding technology solutions. And this is what has to happen. So it's a natural development in the market that it enforces consolidation in what form ever. I do not want to make any predictions whether it's alliances or other forms of publishers coming together, but I think it's a necessity. In 3 years or 4 years from now, we will see that on the publisher side, only a few much bigger regional heroes will really be successful and survive the game.
Nerissa, from a buy-side perspective, having a nice big block of premium publishers in Germany, an easy way to buy, that must be an attractive proposition.
Extremely attractive, yes. I think if the French can do it, I don't see why the German market can't do it, quite frankly. I mean, obviously in the German market, personalized relationships are quite a big focus. The way in which business is done in Germany is all based on who you know and the relationships that you have with those publishers. But I think those relationships can be utilized for coming together, trusting one another a little bit, and taking advantage of the moving dollars that are coming into the space.
Erhard, would you like to power that exchange, would you?
I have, when I got this question here, it was just remembering me on a situation which we had 4 or 5 years ago, where we really have been thought about using some kind of sharing the cookie with other publishers. So we have been prepared, the technology. I have been spoken to, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 of those publishers, and it sounded to me that I have been brought back the devil on the world. So none of the big ones, none of the small ones have been said, yeah, that's a great idea. So it's a couple of years ago. It's not so far. It's not that much history. But if you look today, we have a number of our publishers in Switzerland. They have done it already. So they are working together. They're going to be sharing the information of the user by having the same cookie information, which is running through our ad server. So if you would have been asking me 4 years ago, I would say, no. Yeah. Now I would say, it's just happening.
Martin, you think it's a great idea?
I think it's a great idea. And yeah, sorry. Take a look at America. There you have Quadrant 1. That's a combination of the New York Times, Washington, blah, blah, San Francisco Chronicle, and all the local newspapers that are quite big. And they joined forces exactly for this reason. And even in the Netherlands, I'm talking to other news publishers, and the Netherlands is a small country, as we all know, is where I came to the stunning conclusion that we were all working on self-service as an example. Well, that's just saying to all the advertisers, you know, give all your advertising dollars to Facebook or give them to Google because it's much easier. So, and that will also happen in Germany. I mean, Facebook is probably a website people know in this part of the world.
And taking display budget as well.
Yeah, I think for Google it's the same. So you have, I mean, you need scale. And it's better, maybe you can have some verticals over here in Germany. So just create a platform for news properties. Just create something for all the television stations or something for all the classified websites, or etc.
A scalable premium exchange, Jay. That'd be quite an interesting proposition.
Well, you could argue that that's what interactive media is today.
Yeah.
Or that's what United Internet Media is with their collection of properties, or any major German sales house that is, I mean, it is essentially premium publishers coming together.
Yeah. So there's another model that we talk about, obviously the automated channel and automated buying, and let everybody else access their inventory. But there seems to be other models around this space for publishers, particularly the concept of a publisher trading desk, where the publisher actually becomes a media buyer themselves, leveraging their own data. And Martin, you've actually rolled out something in Holland, in the Telegraaf, and are actually building your own sort of bidder technology. I mean, do you think that's a huge opportunity for the publishers here?
Well, for us as a publisher, we were starting opening our inventory, working with RTB, etc. And we also had the situation where people weren't able to buy performance campaigns through our own sales channel. So that was kind of a strange situation. So we said, if you want to have full circle, the full AIDA model, or whatever you want to call it, you have to be able to sell everything to an advertiser. Newspaper, online, and for online you have to sell branding, performance, and everything between. But from an optimization perspective, we knew that we had to buy our own inventory from our SSP because we're optimizing everything. So that's the reason why we started working with a DSP a few years ago. And at this moment, yeah, well, you're correct, because when you have a DSP, you're actually a trading desk, and because you're a publisher trading desk. And because of the competition, what happens is that our direct sales team wasn't able to spend all the budgets we got from advertisers. So we had a new situation. We had budgets that we didn't spend. Okay, so what are we going to do? Are we going to give it back to the advertiser, or are we going to buy inventory from Google, Facebook, Microsoft, etc.? We took that road. From a technology perspective, it was okay, but I have a lot of data as a publisher that's impossible to have for every middleman. I mean, we're a publisher. I know who's on my website, when he's on my website, how much time he will spend. I probably know information because he has a subscription on our newspaper. I know if he's looking for a car through a classified website. So there's tons of information that I want to use in my trade desk. Much easier if you have your own technology, because then you can build everything into your algorithm. So that's the reason why we switched to our own DSP actually today.
Yeah, you actually switched today. Oh, congratulations! That's a big announcement for the conference. Philip, do you think that's a model you could copy here? Is that something that you look at it?
It's definitely an interesting model to balance your different sales channels against each other and manage the whole ecosystem around our publisher portfolio. But to be honest, it's not our priority one today. So we are focusing currently on our SSP program, private exchange program, to do step one. Might be a future step, yeah.
But that's because you're a sales house, right? You're not a and for me, that's a little bit of a different. I mean, we have sales houses in the Netherlands, or well, we had, because I don't think there are that many left because of all the automated things that are going on. They're now called trading desks. But I think this is a model that works for a publisher that has their own sales force. As soon as you start working with an external party, it's maybe a different story.
Erhard, what do you think?
I mean, it's not so different with us. So we have our own portfolio. We are closely connected with our DT media assets. We are exclusively representing our publishers. So it's a very publisher-oriented business. It's not just a sales house like a third-party sales house with no own inventory.
Erhard, do you think it's a possibility?
Or
is it too early at this stage?
I think both models will probably work. So from his perspective, just going this one way, and from Philip's perspective, saying, okay, it's not the time for us. I need to have the both sides, and I need to grow into it. I think it's just a matter of time, and everyone needs to decide for his own business model what portion of what does he need to take over it, which makes it a little bit more difficult for us as a technology provider. We need to be ready for the ones who are going to be going early, and we also need to be available for those who are going to be moving their business model from time to time. But I think it's just a matter of time that every sales house needs to go a little bit more closer into those RTB tradings and all of those stuff. And I think guaranteed inventory, premium inventory versus remnant is a too hard gap. So I think we should take the inventory as a total and then see how the sales houses work out what to do with the inventory as a complete piece, and then the model will definitely change, I guess. So, I mean, so let's just, I'm conscious we're very tight for time because we're running over all day, but let's finish with the last question. I'm just conscious to say what effect will sort of moving to real-time advertising have on the sort of sales house ecosystem in Germany? Are we looking at a lot of consolidation in the space? I mean, I know Martin's been saying, but sales houses for me seem like a different entity in Germany because they own their own properties and they are working on a different sort of model, and even they're considered publishers themselves. I mean, but do you think moving to a real-time sort of automated place means that there's going to be consolidation among the 400-strong sales house? Because, I could start a sales house now. ExchangeWire.com could be a sales house.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
There's still a huge benefit in having a close and long-term relationship with your publishers. So, I mean, what is premium? Premium is not about a certain type of inventory or perceived value of inventory. It's really the approach you have on the inventory. And if you look on the success story we have with our publishers, this is about a premium consultancy approach, right? Together with the publishers, finding the right approach on their inventory, scaling their capabilities to bring it to the market, bundling it to the right products, and representing it to the market. So, in general, this model is there to stay, right? We are in the middle of a transformation now because we want to use the opportunities out there around the automated channel, because we believe that in our approach towards the customers, it's pretty important for us to be capable to manage the whole inventory and optimize it in the best way. And this will be a more intelligent data and technology game in the future. So to deliver best service for our publisher, it's a must for us to do this step, go more into a platform capability, and transform the company around that.
Surely, if there's more efficiency in the market, it means that you probably don't need less sales houses to be sort of trying to sell that inventory. I mean, I'll just give that to Erhard, just because his perspective, because he's working with a lot of sales houses as well. I mean, if you have, if we move more to an efficiency-driven model, do we need that many sales houses in the marketplace?
I think sales houses in the future looking probably a little bit different. But sales houses, they have a good relation to other publishers, to websites. They also have a good relation to the advertisement world, agencies, and a lot of advertisers. So if on a sales house perspective, they are doing the right approach, keeping a part of the traditional model, but changing a big part of their business into the new world we are talking about here, I would say sales houses probably are the one who can make the most out of it. It's not only the single publisher. I think the sales houses, they have a great chance in the future on that.
Okay. Well,
let me add one sentence to that. I mean, it's not that you just have to open the automated channel and everything is flowing, right? It's about the traditional players in the value chain to leverage this technology and find the right business models to use the potential. It's about the sales houses and the agencies in Germany.
Yeah, You're exactly right. I mean, it's not like you just flip a switch and all of a sudden you get a check the next day and you're maximizing your revenues, right? The reality of it is that somebody has to be setting the, and creating the roadmap and the guide for the publisher. I mean, the level of consultation that we provide to our publishers and how much our publishers push us day in and day out, and push our yield management team to maximize revenues. I mean, we're constantly working together to make that happen, and it takes a team of people to execute on that. And a great example is, I mean, Add to One in the UK as probably the leading sales house in the UK is one of our biggest customers. Because but they also still, the publisher needs that level of consultation on their end as well, and somebody has to go through the process of, all right, this particular advertiser is endemic, and therefore they need to have a floor price that's just barely discounted off rate card. Somebody has to set those points and to make those guiding decisions, as well as to do the creative sales. Because no matter how good we get with automation, you're never ever going to sell a homepage takeover.
So we'll just leave the last point to Erhard, because we're running over time. So Erhard, you can finish up, and then I would just say one thing, that the sales house continues to live in Germany, which is great news.
No, just what I wanted to say is it's a matter also of training and education to get the right people, making them interesting for the new technology. And when I look back, it's like a couple of years ago, it was just a campaign manager could hardly manage a campaign. Now you have people that know exactly how to run around the business, but they don't think about what is the next step. So we need to get training and education. We need to get the people into this new world. And I think then it's not a problem will a sales house exist or a publisher exist. It's just a matter of who is having the right approach, the best business model, and who have the right stuff that is trained and educated enough to run it.
Erhard, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for the panel. Thank you.